name's Cory Campbell. I'm from East Vancouver, close to Nanaimo Kingsway in East Vancouver. I got into skateboarding when I was, I think about 12 and a half, but I do have memories of skateboarding on steel wheels when I was 7 years old. We did the side of a house one time, about a 2-foot radius sidewalk went on the side of a house, and I tried out the steel wheels skateboard, and that would have been about 68, 69. A Chinese guy down the street's board. I don't know where he got it from, his older brother. And I was just hanging out. I was only 8 or 9 years old. And I just, it looked really fun. So I thought, I'm going to try this thing. And I went down. I was the only guy to go down the side of the house without wiping out. And it was, I was hooked. I got serious when I came down to Woodward's down here in Vancouver and rode out of the Woodwards on a Duraflex skateboard, and I rode that baby home, and we got a lot of hills around my house, and I went to Scotland with my soccer team, and I took that skateboard with me, and I rode a pool. It was like a skateboard park, and they had 3 pools there, and you advanced from one to the other. And I was in the black pool within 3 hours. I was 13 years old. It was that was 1975, 74. That was a fiberglass board, probably 28 inches long, maybe 5 inches wide. Flexible, bouncy board. The original scene started with myself and a couple of guys that were my age. And what we did was, we had these hills by my house, and they went all the way down to a lake called Trout Lake. So,
and where were you living at that time?
I was living basically at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Gladstone and Kingsway.
Yeah. And
if you stepped on a skateboard there, you could go down the hill, and when you got by the school, you started picking up some speed, and I think it was only about a 34-mile-an-hour ride, but that was pretty fast on those small boards back then. At this point, I just was into Evel Knievel. Evel Knievel was my idol. He still is my idol today. And I was starting to get the Skateboard magazine from California, and I read an article on a guy named Mad Dog, Tony Alva, and I was hooked. And we started our whole scene was kind of just trying to be like these people from Santa Monica that they call themselves Dogtown. And I was the originator of East Van. I'm the guy that started the East Van Cross.
So you're the dude who drew the first cross?
I was the guy that drew the first East Van Cross. And we put it on our boards, and a lot of my friends my age put it on their arms on tattoos. When I was in grade 8, 1975, maybe 74. Well, like I say, I mean, I did start the design myself and Brienza, and to this day, we've got Hell's Angels. We've got Hell's Angels, and we've got all kinds of. There's a mass population with people with tattoos, and I think it's good. I think it's that the artwork that they have at Clark and Great Northern Way. I mean, a Chinese. I'm stoked on it. I mean, I think it's great. And I mean, I don't. It's not like I lost money on it. I don't care about it. No. Everything's absolutely everything's cool there. There was a man named Don Brienza that was hanging with us. There's also a man named Herman Hundel who idolized Jay Adams. I somewhat idolized Tony Alva. He was the man that I was very impressed by. He had all the records, and he was the best pool rider I'd ever seen. So I was blown away by Tony Alva. What happened was we never stopped ripping the hills and bombing down hills and doing speed runs. I have 3 speeding tickets to this day from the Vancouver Police. I never paid no fines, but I was issued a ticket. One of them was stand up, and it was a school zone, but the other one was when I was laying down my back and doing a coffin style. I was timed at 57. But what I'm trying to say is we always bombed the hills, and I took my dad's station wagon, and we'd go to construction sites and swipe plywood. And we started designing half pipes. These half pipes had no flat in the middle. They were just round half pipes. And we made some pretty good half pipes, and we had them all over East Van. There was a good couple half pipes. We made a ramp with a roll-up, a deck that you rolled into the...
the fish hook.
Yeah, the fish hook. And we would put, we were into vertical skating, so if it was a foot of vertical, a friend of mine, we called him Brutus, was one of my good friends. We put on another sheet of plywood and made that a 5 feet of vertical. And we were grinding the top of that. We would go to the top of that and up the roll-up ramp and then down. Brutus used to destroy ramps, and Brutus kept breaking his toes. I don't know how he broke his toes, but he broke his toes. He was a big boy. Some of the guys that came with us became good skateboarders. They were really good skateboarders. That whole scene was unreal. I'll never forget that. Just guys like Carlos Longo was only 10 years old when I started, right? I was 14, 15, so Carlos was a young guy, just like when I was skateboarding at Sealand Park. Sluggo was only 10 years old also. And Sluggo used to watch me skate, and...
Do you think you had much influence on someone like Carlos, for example?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, so he would have grown up around you, and you kind of set him an example that you sort of picked up on.
Absolutely. I'd go get the kid. I mean, in '86, when the World Fair, when Expo was here, I was Carlos's manager, and we got Carlos in the Portuguese snowboard team. And I took Carlos everywhere, and he was in the competition. So I believed in him. He, you know, his father did nothing for him. His mother did fuck all for him. His sister had a hard time. His brother did. I seen that when I was a kid, so I took him under my wing. And absolutely, I got good memories of Carlos. As far as I remember, the GNC demo ramp was a big steel ramp that folded in. It was on wheels. It was a trailer towed. It was a tandem trailer. It was worth a lot of money, and it was a very heavy piece of steel. And I think it was 15 years old. I asked Rick Dukeman if I could borrow it for a demo. He was the owner of GNC. I was taken to a lot of places in Alberta by a guy named Rick Dukeman, who kind of, you know, would take me to ramps and pools, and Skatopia. He took me all over the place. I kept my sponsorship with Rick, and he opened up a company called Skull Skates, and in that time I won the Canadian Skateboard Championships 79 and 80. My favorite skateboard trick has always been 4 feet of frontside air. And back when I rode, 4 feet of frontside air was the best trick you could do. I mean, I did inverts. I could do the inverts, but.
So you first rode a skateboard around 68, and then you got real stuff around 75. How about snowboarding?
My first trip on the snowboard was with Peter Dukeman in 1981. We hiked up Seymour Mountain with a board, but it had no bindings on it. And we stepped on this board and did a few turns, but the board would always get away with us. So that was my first time that I stepped on the board. And I think the next year, '82, was when Peter got some Burton boards in that Jake Burton Carpenter made. And I think he gave me one of those the next year, and unstoppable since then. I was just...
So what's the raddest thing you've ever done on a skateboard?
I was at at an indoor skateboard park in Olympia, and they had a 16-foot capsule, and I went as far back as I could and got as much speed, and I dropped into the capsule and popped out about 6 feet of air and popped back in. I also did a Larry Bertelman Zephyr slide on the coping, meaning I was upside down and I pulled that off. So those two tricks I'll never forget.
What's the raddest thing you think you ever did on
The snowboard thing, I think, was just I do backflips off the moguls, and I did a backflip in a competition. I didn't even know how to do backflips, but the guy did a backflip. I thought, how am I going to win this comp if I don't do a backflip? So I did and that was the one where I think the picture in the Japanese magazine, right? I would do the full extension ones, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I've ridden so much extreme snowboarding, like Colorado and Lake Tahoe, riding with the boys down an avalanche.
So it's all kind of a blur then?
Well, it's kind of a blur. Yeah. Oh, I was telling you, Evel Knievel is my idol. At 13 years old, 12, 13, I jumped 14 garbage cans on my Mustang bike, and I made it. Evel Knievel is still my idol. I just saw a movie on Evel Knievel the other day, and I love the guy, man.
I must have fucked up. What's the craziest thing you can remember that you've done in your life?
I still remember, when I was 15 years old, and we would go pool hunting, and there was a Travelodge hotel downtown, and it was the pool. We would go pool hunting, and the pool was empty, but it had about a foot of water in it. So myself and Gary Newman and a couple guys, we got a pump together, and we got an extension cord. We hooked it up, and we all snuck out of our windows, because our parents. We snuck out of our windows and climbed down the balcony, and we met at 2:30 in the morning and pumped this pool out and had it dry by like 5 o'clock. And as soon as the sun came up, we were carving the tiles. And that was on that little skateboard that I swiped from Woodward's. Yeah. So that was like the most rushiest. Well, I sure had fun at the East Van pool. It was down on Commercial Drive. Yeah, it was a square pool. Yep. Vince knocked himself out, and yeah, they put asphalt over the pool. But the boys used to light the coping on fire, and we'd have night sessions and the end wall. And I thought that was a good era. That was quite fun. Yeah. The best time that I have was when I went to Santa Monica and I went to Marina Del Rey. Venice, and I went to I rode the Dogtown Bowl. That was my best experience of my life. Yeah, Marina Del Rey. This high. Yeah, and I met all my everybody was there. Tony Alva, everybody was there, right? Well, you know what? In the early years, Tony Alva, he did what he did and got into the Hollywood thing, but. I always liked Christian Soy, and then again in the end there, Danny Wade. Danny Wade's, those are the three for me. I think BC's got some nice skate parks. I'd sure like to see some indoor stuff going on like we got here. There's no reason why somebody with a lot of dough can't pump in a couple million into a bit. I go to skate parks and I sit there and watch. When I used to go to parks, people used to sit down and watch me, right? And I'm really entertained by some of these kids. Just show up and pop in 3-foot air and just boom, boom, boom. And yeah, I'm really impressed. And I think the scene in Vancouver is cool. Like, I've been over on the island and Courtney and all these new skate parks. I put on my helmet, my pads, and I rip it around. But I'm 80 pounds heavier than I used to be. So, but I have fun, man. East Van rules. Hopefully we'll get some more indoor parks around here for the kids to keep them off the streets, and get some more vertical going for the kids. Because if you don't put vertical on, man, they're just going to hit the coping and fall and break their arms. You put vertical on, they're going to fucking slide to the bottom. They're going to slide to the bottom. Thank you.